Hi Zorawar, great to have you in Bangalore and especially on In Conversation for Food Lovers TV.
Pleasure to be here.
New Farzi Café, excited about it?
Extremely excited.
Okay.
I've always been a big fan of the city. I love Bangalore. In fact, the joke between me and my wife is how soon can we move here? And that's not just because of the weather.
Okay.
I think it's the vibe of the city is unmatched. I think it's got a very sophisticated dining clientele that knows its food, that knows the nuance of food, is very expressive about their tastes and preferences. And it's just a great city to be a part of. And I'm finally happy to get our main brand, Farzi Café, to the town.
You know, after the success of Masala Library in Bombay, in Mumbai, BKC, Farzi Café has been the rage. But let's go back to the early days. You know, when you came back to India from Boston, I think in 2004, and you set up your company, ZK Concepts. You set up two brands, Street Foods of India and Punjab Grill then in a QSR format. There were moderate successes from whatever I've heard of. And then you set up Punjab Grill by Karla in a fine dining format with your dad actively involved in that with the Burmans. Again with a certain degree of success. But I think the breakthrough seems to have come with Masala Library by Karla at BKC, Mumbai. You know, suddenly the world sat up and took notice of what you were doing. Talk us through the evolution that happened.
So, you know, obviously the journey started in 2004 when I got back from the US. And I started off, these QSR concepts myself, putting my own money as an entrepreneur usually does.
Sure.
And I started Punjab Grill in a food court format, opened quite a few of them. They were not moderately successful, actually they were quite successful.
All right.
They did very well.
I stand corrected.
That's fine. Street Foods of India grew rapidly.
Okay.
It went in multiple places in the Delhi NCR and then it went to Lucknow. It was doing well. But you know, I soon realized that this is not what I really want to do. I want to have larger concepts. I want to build bigger restaurants. I want to be able to cater to a larger clientele. So I decided that we need to raise funds. And that's how I got in touch with Lightbite and they kind of came on board as my partners, as my investors. I was running the company, but they were the people who got in the capital to be able to grow these restaurants. So Punjab Grill suddenly started its first restaurant in 2008. I remember we took only about 3 months to build it and it was ready in 2008, June 19th if I remember correctly. And the very first day we opened, it had lines out the door.
Okay.
That was the day that was the day and age of no social media. I didn't even have a Facebook account, I think.
All right.
And it was all pure word of mouth and the power of the Karla name.
Okay.
That his name was there. People had seen passing by in the mall. The mall was a rage at that time, Ambience Mall in Gurgaon. And people saw, they were waiting eagerly. I didn't know how eagerly they were waiting for it to open. But the moment it opened, it picked up beautifully. I remember the first day we did 1 lakh rupee sale in 2008, June.
Okay.
That was not a joke. That was the peak recession time. Remember, 2008 was recession. In fact, I remember a newspaper covering a photo of Punjab Grill and the tagline was, "Where is the recession?" Question mark. So, you know, it was a great time for us. The restaurant did very well. Within a year, we opened the second one and in about 18 months, we opened 2 more. And these grew in a very organic manner. Whichever city they went in, they did very well. The company became very profitable. I obviously owned a large chunk of that company. But we got into a certain expansion mode where further dilution of my shares was required, which I wasn't okay with. So I suggested, why don't, it's a very profitable company, it's a fabulous company, why don't you just buy this out? So amicably we agreed. I sold my shares. They're obviously very close friends of mine till today. And that's what happened. I took a 6-month off because that was my non-compete period. And then I started on Massive. So Massive was literally, so we ran Punjab Grill for about 4 years, built about 8 restaurants, highly profitable, every restaurant making a lot of money, including one in Singapore.
Okay.
But then I thought, I need to move on, do something more unique.
Okay.
And that's how the idea of Masala Library and Farzi Café and everything else came about. I've been thinking about this concept for a long time, but India wasn't ready before, honestly, I believe, before 2013 to dabble with molecular and these super cutting edge techniques and things.
All right. But what took you down this route? You had a very successful model in Punjab Grill. It was a restaurant for the mainstream. What you did with Masala Library and what you did with Farzi Café wasn't really, there were pockets that were doing probably some things in this direction, but you chose to kind of bring it down, evolve it, take it mainstream. What kind of led to that?
So Masala Library was a punt. When we started that, that was built to be a premium concept where people are going to come in for the ultimate culinary experience. Did very well. First week, I remember there were 5-6 guests coming in. We hadn't advertised. Again, social media, even in 2013 was big. We did a blogger party, that's it. We didn't do much hoo-ha, just opened the restaurant. A week later, we started getting 400 to 500 calls a day. So within 1 week, the word of mouth was so strong that people just started really streaming in. And that's when we realized, about a month later is when we realized that, listen, we're onto something big. So the risk has paid off. But that was still limited to the fine gourmet diners. It had limited, I guess, reach to the mass market of India. So I decided on converting that same concept, the same ethos of true gourmet, very cutting edge food, but at a lower price point. And that's how Farzi Café came about. To bring it more, to make it more youthful, make it more accessible, make it more aspirational, but at the same time make a restaurant that is something to everyone. So you can come and have a gourmet meal, you can come and have a date night, you can come and celebrate your Dada Dadi's anniversary, you can enjoy amazing live music, beautiful cocktails, the most bleeding edge of dining you can experience, but at a price point that won't break your wallet. So I think that's what the evolution from Masala Library to Farzi Café was.